Good morning. It's Monday, and I'm Nancy Joy. I'm going to talk about sin here in just a minute, but a very important way that sin relates to what's going on now, which is we're in a very powerful time. We're in the middle of Monday was solstice a week ago today, very powerful solstice. And then Saturday came the lunar eclipse, which the alignment between the two is called a grand cross astrologically. Those who are into that, very powerful. This one is kind of nothing can stay the same. It's both explosive and expanding and powerful, all kinds of things. So we're all being affected by that in our personal lives, as is obvious by the state of the world, the oil spill, etc. And then July 11th, you have the solar eclipse. So we're in the middle of a packed full time of 2010, which is also coming up close to the time that the final wave of the Mayan calendar begins, which is unity consciousness. So given all that, why, Nancy Joy, this morning did you want to talk about sin? Well, you know, as it's so important as we go into the wave of unity consciousness that we move out of duality. And years ago, I was extremely guilty of judgment about religion and about the word sin. Well, really, religion is just what was created out of spirituality, both to get the word out and to control people, right? But the word sin has just always bugged me until years ago. Actually, when we bought El Shaddai, the lady from whom we bought our beautiful home was a very Christian woman. And I got to know her and befriended her as we went through this buying process and exchange of ownership. And she so wanted me to go to her worldwide Bible study program, and I so didn't want to go. Until Ezekiel said to me one time, around that time, he said, "What are you afraid of? There's something for you to learn. It's an open door. You're moving into this home called El Shaddai, meaning God Creator. Why not learn all you can learn?" Was essentially the message. And so, of course, I went. And I sat listening to the lesson, and the lesson was on sin, and the quotes that were being talked about were, children are born into sin, or man is born into sin, and the sins of the fathers will continue for 7 generations, or is passed on through the sons. There's a lot of different quotes in the Bible on the sins of the fathers. I sat there getting so annoyed, and then I just started deep breathing and tuning what I was hearing out. And came this download that really changed so many things for me. Let's look at sin again. The download was that if you realize that all sin is the patterns of the family. You're born into the patterns of the family. This is true. Children are born into sin, patterns of the family. And the patterns of the family continue seemingly from generation to generation to generation. The focus is very negative biblically of sin. There are the 7 deadly sins. I'm not going to remember them all, but they're listed in this email. For you on YouTube, I'm going to put stuff on the side that I'm going to talk about. The 7 deadly sins, this was anger, greed, lust, envy, I'm not remembering them, gluttony, and I can't remember them all. But, you know, they all are a negative tone, and yet we know that anything in this universe is integrated. There really isn't any duality except what we've been programmed to believe. So I'm including a link to a wonderful article by Barbara Clow on this Grand Cross alignment that we're experiencing right now. And she's taking a look at sin as I'm taking a look at sin. So let's take a look just at some of them. Anger. Well, anger is power. The power to change the world. The power to change your life. You know, I've talked about this before in my videos and articles on anger. When you get good and angry, something's going to change. You don't have to spew your anger all over anyone. Take responsibility for it and use it to change yourself. Well, the same with the number one deadly sin, anger. Well, if it's a sin to be angry, then, we're all sinners. So let's take the sins and be constructive with them. If it's a sin of gluttony, it's about enjoying your food, being conscious when you eat it, being sensuous when you eat it. If it's about laziness, it's knowing how to relax, it's knowing how to tune in, knowing how to meditate, knowing how to get guided, as well as the opposite, which is unstoppable. If you're talking, what are some of the envy? Well, envy yourself. Love who you are. Count your blessings. On and on like this we could go. So the 7 deadly sins become the 7 sins of resurrection, right? And so during this time that is so powerful, and adding on the Gulf oil spill in here, as well as Afghanistan and everything else going on in our world, it's time to take what we're given and create with it the energy of an integrated new reality. So sin, let's take sin. We've been judging sin. Most of us, let's call us spiritual beings, have issues with sin. Well, the issues we have with sin are that we're blocking out part of it. It's like Ezekiel said, what are you afraid of? If you're afraid of the Gulf oil spill, dive into it in yourself. Look at it from every angle. Feel all your feelings. Let's look at it. Denial's not the answer. Being mad about it, my judgment about sin, and I don't want to go to the Bible study, and is denial on my part, right? So this Monday morning, let's take a whole fresh new look. Read that article on the Grand Cross. This is the time to make a difference. Step into your intentions. Understand to create that you're moving out of duality. You're not a Republican and you're not a Democrat. You have your beliefs, your truths inside yourself, and they are not defined by duality. The more that consciousness can expand right now, the more we move into the galactic center with that consciousness, the more the unity will expand and the easier this shift will be. It's really our choice. So take a look at sin in a new way this morning. Look at where you're in denial and where you're in judgment, and let's create a new reality together, heart to heart. Thanks. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.